Welcome everyone. Dr. Savita Datt, author of A Drop of Light and guest of today in our 131st episode under Trends Literature series, has always said, it is easier than we think to make a difference. How true, and what a proud moment for us at Trends Literature series to host an icon of our times, someone who's never looked back. After having started a school under the trees with just 7 children in 2003, and she has been breaking down the barrier of education for these underprivileged children. In fact, she reveals today the incredible journey that led to the creation of this very, very inspiring book, A Drop of Light. She would be sharing, she would be sharing with us the touching tale of founding Prakashdeep, a free school for underprivileged children, and the journey of putting pen to paper against all odds, a relentless pursuit of spreading education and hope. Dr. Savita Datt, I really welcome you to our platform. It's such a pleasure, such an honor for us to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Neeta, and thanks for so many nice words for me, which I hardly deserve. It has been a pleasure for me every inch of the way to work with these underprivileged children whom I found on the roads, near the slums, and doing menial jobs all over, when the parents were gone. So I don't think it was any challenge or anything, but it was just lovely working with them. I started, like you just said, that with 7 students on under a tree, and those 7 students, included 4 daughters of my helper. They became orphans. One after the other, their parents died, and they were left on the street. So that is the beginning of the school. So I brought them home, and then I thought home environment was not really great, because there were a lot of disturbances. So we went and sat under the tree. There was a beautiful urgent tree in a park, public park, in our sector. So it went on. The children walked in. The parents felt, this was a better place to leave them instead of leaving them on the street. And it just worked by itself. I didn't have to do anything. It was God's grace.
From 2003 to 2004, 2024, 7 to over 750 children now. So how does it
Yeah.
feel to look back? I request you to really talk us about your journey and share with us the inspiring, uplifting, and most heartwarming story of the Prakash Deep School of underprivileged.
Yeah, Anita, it all started with a dream. Uh, Basically, I'm a dreamer, and that was one afternoon I had a dream that there were so many children, playing around and laughing and joking, and there were no sound of the children, but no sign of the children as such, but the sound was there, and it stayed with me for a long time. I thought it was some kind of a direction that had come to me, and I had to do something for these kids, whom I saw on the street, and always felt, I was very small, I must be about 3 or 4 years old, when I had a chance to go to Bombay. And there, sitting on the terrace, which was overlooking a slum. And when I saw those kids, picking out eatables from the garbage dumps, it really hurt me so hard. So that picture had stayed with me, and that is what was inspiring. But I was working elsewhere, and researching things, in international security, which didn't make any sense to me at that stage. And I felt, wasting my time. And then I gave up that and decided to work for these kids, And the opportunity came because my helper, she was gone, and the father had already expired, and 4 girls were left. So we sat under that tree, and started it, and we have not looked back. Children came themselves, parents left them. And passers-by who scoffed in the beginning, they saw us sitting there all the time, since Sundays also. So they thought, it was something serious. So they started to help. We've not had to ask anyone for help. That is the best part of it. So they came, they brought bananas, they brought fruits, and all kinds of eatables and clothes. And somebody said they would sponsor uniforms, books, stationery. We had no dearth of anything. God was showering His grace on us.
I think
So,
yes. Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. And I think you've had the best people with best intentions also supporting you. I mean, I went through the book. You're so right. It's been like a God's grace. I mean, with you, with your determination and with your everything, your soul intact, and such honesty in pursuing a dream. And there were people joining you, willing to join you. Like I read the case of Sangeeta also joining you, like that,
Yeah.
and so many others. When you wanted that, yes, for computers and maybe taking it to the next level, you wanted to have somebody, maybe people start giving you funds and something like that. And there was this person from US writing the whole draft for you. So
Yeah.
how have all these people impacted you? I mean, it's so heartwarming to go through the story. I have read the book right from the first word till the last. I knew
So,
about you for so long, but the story of Prakash Deep school that you put down and that book is so heartwarming, so emotional that it gets you, you feel that, oh, you've not done much. I mean, I'm talking about myself and need to really get up and get inspired further. So tell us about these people who came in and joined you with your whole good
you
intention.
see, I really thought, I never expected anything like that to happen. You see, I was just sitting by myself, and the children were there, and we were enjoying, we were very happy, and the number was increasing, and passers-by who were, like I told you, they scoffed initially. See, they suddenly felt, that here was a place they could help out with. The number was increasing like anything, and then Sangeeta passed by, and there were others, one after the other. They said, can we also join this? This was something, that, it brought so much satisfaction to us, you see, doing something for them. And most surprising was, you see, the potential they had was tremendous. I could never imagine a child from the slums, doing so many things, which we thought probably उनको कैसे वो कैसे करेंगे, उनके माँ बाप अनपढ़ हैं, but they had so much sense, this tremendous potential was there, which was lying dormant, and this little place under the tree provided them the platform, and it just carried on. More and more people joining the effort, more and more people getting involved in arranging for their requirements, you see, which was the best part. मेरे को किसी से मांगना नहीं पड़ा, किसी से कुछ कहना नहीं पड़ा कि help करो. Even my friends, when they heard about it, like I told you, see, I had to, there were people, neighbors, probably you will relate to them, you see, Mr. Chauhan and all. He says, "Aap UPS ko apply karo." So I did. So all these things, when I needed somebody to come forward and write it for me or edit whatever I had written, you see, it was really nice. People came forward and did that for me. I had no idea how to make a proposal. Kanan Venkateshwar, you see, he was sitting in the US, and he said, he did that for me. And many people, you see, they came forward. मुझे नहीं पता कि ये कैसे हो रहा था, but I was all the time conscious of God's grace. And my book has been written in gratitude. I'm so grateful when I look back. The feeling that I have is tremendous gratitude to God, for having placed me at a right place at the right time for a right thing to do. You see, it is so enriching. It has enriched my life, It's given me a purpose. I'm I'm immensely grateful to the God, you see, who's done this for me.
How and
And also
yes,
and
yes.
also grateful to the people who have joined me, on their own. मैं किसी को कहने नहीं गई थी.
Mhm. But how did you and when did you really thought about writing this book? I know you had initial reluctance, it was against all odds. I think your son kind of really believed in the idea, and so many others did, that yes, this story needs to be told, needs to get out to people. You've been doing your work, but this was a very, very relatable model. People can replicate it. They can take this model and maybe make a difference to multiple others, multiple thousands of people through your model. So when did you
Yeah.
really thought that story needs to be told? This needs to come out.
Yeah, no, I can't recall, you see, when I started, but I was, it was basically, you see, what triggered it was my four little girls, you see, who were left, you know, on the street, which really hurt me so hard. And then when I brought them under my care, I saw, you see, what all they needed, and how so many other children like that were there on the street, and then the slums and all, they were nearby. We have 3, 4 slums near us. So it looked, that this was something I had to do, and once it started, you see, then we progressed, and the number of people when they joined, so we extended our reach also, you see. We went to the slums because we felt, those people, children cannot cross roads, you see, and they're left in the slum by parents. हम वहाँ पे slum के पास, we cleared up a place under a tree, and started our classes. It seemed so exciting. Children were so happy under the trees. It reminded me of Tagore. I said, look, you see, this is the same model, and children are so happy with nature, and they're learning more than what other children are learning in behind walls. So it worked. It worked for all of us. Uh, have I missed out on any of your questions?
Just about that, when did you really decide about putting this together?
So that was the trigger was my helpers, girls, you see, and I felt, that I had to do this also, so that I can get the message across. See, this seemed a very replicable because there was no investment. मैंने एक पैसा नहीं खर्च किया. What I had done was I just hung a chart under a tree, and the children were there, and the community was getting involved. So I felt here was a replicable model, which anybody, any grandmother or mother sitting at home, not doing anything worthwhile, could take. You see, and we could extend the reach of education to all these children who were left, who fell from the cracks of the government system. You see, government schools still asked for something we never did. हमको नहीं कोई birth certificate नहीं चाहिए, हमको कोई आपका आधार कार्ड नहीं चाहिए, कुछ नहीं. You have the right to study, and that we try to extend to them.
I also felt that, when you started, it was just with the alphabet chart and very, very basic education. But I feel that the way it has grown, it's also because of your vision to make it holistic, to get more skills involved, to make them self-employment was your main key. Things like introducing creche. I mean, you did not let, it was against all odds. You did not let that remain behind, that yes, a particular child needs to carry this younger sibling along. And you said, please come with them. You made it at every step very accessible for them, I felt.
It had to be. You see, I saw that the potential was there, and they were being held back because of these limitations that were imposed on them. They had to they had to fill up the water. You see, when the water was available, and they had to do the housework, and they had to look after their siblings. Where could they do it? You see, we said either if you can come to the center, you see, fine, and bring your siblings along. And then at a later stage, we realized that we need to take the school to them. You see, because there were so many other children who were left behind. And that's why we started different centers in close to different slums. So that worked very well. They didn't have to cross any roads. They didn't need any escorts, you see, to bring them to school and take them back. Everything was simple. And then I felt, you see, here is something, which can be replicated so easily. So that's how, it carried on. Then it carried forward. And at every stage, there were no odds. I don't think, I got them odds. It was all the time, every inch of the way. It was a player. I just loved doing what I was doing.
And Medicare facility, the skill set, every way you and your team kind of thought two steps ahead that how to counter the Medicare problem. So you had these hospitals sending their vans, sending the dental makeup checkups.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't my doing, because the doctors passed by. The school
Hmm.
was so transparent. They passed by and they felt, here was something, They came forward. They said, "Can we do something?" I said, "Yes. You see, a doctor can immunize my children, they can do the dental checkup, so that is the college, Some doctors living in 21C, they came forward. And my cousin, who's also a dentist, she knew some friends. They visited us.
Hmm.
So generally, it kept on moving from every step, step by step, it kept moving forward. I didn't have to do anything. I get the credit, but even the volunteers and all, they've taken on everything. We've got about 10 to 12 volunteers at one time, and people from outside, this NMIMS, you
Hmm.
know,
Yes.
those students, from there they come and intern with us. Manav Rashnaya, so they came intern with us. So everything, that I dreamt of. And then I felt, because they were so bright, they could go forward and they should not be denied anything, even computers, robotics, they should be exposed to everything, space and everything, climate, everything. I couldn't let them stop. Why should I think that they were less than
Hmm.
others?
Hmm.
In many ways, I found them they were better than our children. They had more strength, more ability to take on risks, and they were, in many ways, they were better than our children.
I remember in 2003, you had this student called Sita. And I think,
Yes, yes.
and now she's with you. She's progressed so much in life. Will you like to talk about her? Because she was one
Oh,
of your initial students who's still with you and taking things
man,
forward. This must be such a proud moment for you.
it is. It is a proud moment for me. Sita was one of those four girls who had lost her parents, She was the eldest. She must have been just about 13, 14, when it happened. It was so sad, see. But the girl was so bright, मैं इसको पढ़ाती थी, she would study with me for 3 hours, 3, 4 hours. And whatever I taught her, she would bring that in writing to me the next day. She was so diligent, So I felt, that she needed to go forward. And her youngest sister, she was a toddler, you
Hmm.
know, but they were living in our backyard. We gave them some space to live. So, this Sita was the brightest of them all. She managed those girls, the three siblings, and she worked hard, studied every day, and then the school was also growing. Then because she was the older one, so I made her responsible for smaller kids, and the students were joining in, small children with little siblings and all. They were all coming over. So this school was growing, I felt, she could also help out. And she was the one, was the earliest help that I got in terms of teaching. She could teach alphabets, she could teach counting and tables and all that. So she's been there. And now, I got her to study further. I got her to do some computer training, and I got her to attend some language classes, English language. She is amazing. She is just amazing. Very, very diligent, very sincere, very affectionate. Soft spoken. She's an amazing girl. I don't know how this came about. I don't think much of. You see, the parents were, yes, illiterate. Maya used to get angry with me at times. कि आप मेरी बेटी से काम करा रहे हो? But Sita was always open, and always helpful and learning. She always wanted to learn. So now, she's managing the entire school's office,
Hmm.
the accounts and all she keeps. whatever. I mean, she's sitting in the office all the time. She's office in charge totally. She
Hmm.
took classes initially, but now I've because and then when we got the building, we got her to stay there.
Hmm.
And then she got married. Her husband is also working in the school and partly another job. So
Yeah.
it's going very well with her. I'm
So,
so happy I can rely on her. You see, you need somebody to rely on. You see, we have so much now, computers and all, everything is under her care.
this is the best part of the book. It's a chronicle which chronicles your incredible journey and that of the Prakash Deep School, which definitely transformed the trajectory of thousands of lives. At the same time, it is very engaging. There's so many Sitas in that book. There's so many. It's no holds barred. You have given credit to everybody. You've thought about everybody who's helped you on the way, and as you said, it's kind of a gratitude. But having said that, it's a very transparent and a very, very frank book. And
Yeah.
a reader myself, and I read so many books. And this book I just could not put down because the story, the way you mentioned it, it's very nice. There are QR codes, you just scan it, you look at the YouTube, and the wonderful, wwonderful video made by Vedant. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
your friend's son, and everything is like put together so well, the photographs, and you kept them all together. How did you remember so many incidents, so many names? I mean, hats off to you for remembering your journey so well.
Yeah, you see, I'm a great one for technology. If something happens, I want to sort of make use of it.
Hmm.
These QR codes were, I saw this, and there was a friend of ours. His mother is still working as a volunteer in the school. So he showed me QR code. I said, "Oh, we must include this." This is so exciting. I'm talking about it. And then if it can be visualized, how beautiful it would be. So he showed me how to do that. There were so many young friends like engineers and others, you see, who had joined. For any computer problems. I remember Mayank Chandak. I remember Varun Mittal and Vinayak Mittal, and these were children of my friends.
Hmm.
So they felt, yes, they could help out with these things. We made experiments in solar energy and whatnot. So it has just been very, very exciting journey for me.
Yes, and things like the children going to Delhi for the first time in the bus and the way you put
Yeah.
it together. I mean, being in NCR, they still had never been to Delhi, and you made
Yeah.
it happen. The buses went, and they, I think, did some performances also there and learned.
Yes.
So all these are memories that you really fondly remember and put down
Yeah.
in the book.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some regrets also of children not joining you back, were not
Yeah.
able to join. So what are the what troubles you, about these children? I mean, I know you're making a difference to a lot of children, but do you think the circumstances for them and the underprivileged children have changed over
Yeah.
the years? Yes, the children that you're impacting, their life
Yeah.
has changed for.
Yes, the life has changed, because they've got dreams. You see,
Hmm.
they've seen, what can be achieved with studying, and as the horizon is widening for them. That is the best part of it. Education does that. Otherwise, you see, if they're sitting at home and only cleaning utensils, you see, and just looking after siblings, what is life like?
Hmm.
Here now, learning about space, they're learning about are landing on the moon. They know who Elon Musk is. You see, all those things they're learning. Isn't it exciting for them? I think it's amazing. It's uh, yes, it has given them dreams, and yeah, I'm sure. I keep telling them you're no less than us. You can also realize these dreams because the Indians who landed on the moon. So
Yeah.
all that is yeah.
Yeah, but how about children? You think in as such, I'm not talking about your students, thousands of children that you've impacted. How does the state of children still remain overall?
How
How does the state,
just
I mean, not the children that we have impacted through Prakash Deep schools, But do you feel saddened by still the people that you're unable to touch? They are unable to still come to the school. What do you think
I,
happens to them?
I think, that people are more aware, and you see, and most of the parents, they are sending their children to school.
Hmm.
And I'm sure, you see, if they have opportunities of attending schools which do not demand anything, like our school, you see, hum kuch nahi mang rahe hain. In fact, the incentive is food. Food is also a great thing for them. Lunchtime, yeah, you must have read the chapter, two biscuits, two glucose
Uh,
biscuits.
Initially, yes.
Yeah, that is how it started. Food is a big incentive, even for those two biscuits, the children would come. You
Hmm.
know, that is the main thing. There is hunger and poverty all over, and the only way to deal with poverty is through education. I came to this conclusion, and I made my resolve stronger. You see that we should do this, and then, because I saw their potential, I saw that they needed to do this, and whatever new things I exposed them to, you see, they were ready to excel in those. Actually excel. They have so much in them. So, this has um, uh, made it clear, you see, that we need more such institutions, who can selflessly guide them forward, and take them, hold their hands. We need to do that. Parents are ready to send them to school now, and I see there is understanding on the part, that they must go to school.
And also, there was a chapter on the COVID-19 that how you dealt with the crisis. That was really very, very heartening. Would you like to speak about it? How did you handle that crisis? I have read the chapter, perhaps for the readers who are going to read this book. Perhaps you're going to talk about this. Yeah.
You see, from about COVID, you see, earlier I used to think, that I dreamt of Mars, and I dreamt of schools and floating in the cloud and all that, And I felt, you see, there's something like that, we could extend our reach through that medium. You see.
Hmm.
So then COVID came. Now, you see, we didn't know what to do. Children were not supposed to get out of the houses. We were all stuck in us.
Hmm.
Then we started the school in the cloud, and I realized that we could work it out. I made WhatsApp groups,
Yeah.
with teachers and the students of a particular class. And then, it all started. And it started with a bang, everybody joined. Children, you see, were getting bored. Even I have pictures of a child sitting in a dark, dingy room with a little light, कोई candle जलाई है या क्या छोटा सा bulb लगा और doing the work, school work. It was amazing, So this worked. So
Yeah.
this is how we dealt with this COVID. And then, people were so nice about their food problem and all. We were able to um, get school to provide them with rations, monthly rations. And I think for a number of months, or 3 months or 4 months, we kept giving them food. People were ready to donate, and
Hmm.
facilitate. This was so nice. It was a platform, and we could reach out to our children despite all this problem of COVID.
Right.
Doctors were helpful.
And also, I think you had volunteers even joining from all parts of the world and taking classes with them. That was really very, very nice
Yes.
to do that.
Yeah, that was so nice, I remember, you see, people, you see, who said, all right, they can take uh, classes, language classes, and others,
Mm.
and help us out through this, during this COVID period.
You always maintained because you've been a defense scientist that, and you've had a very, very successful stint as a research scientist, that peace was just not an absence of war. It needed
Yeah.
to start at the grassroots with educating the poorest of the poor. So, what are
Yes.
your plans further? You're always a visionary, you're always dreaming, you're making plans further. So, what is your vision for the future? What next?
Yeah, I think the best part of education, apart from making them literate, the best part of education is to give them hands-on practice on things. Give them skills. You see, so that they can stand up on their own feet.
Hmm.
Skills are the most important thing for them, and they take to it like fish to water. Because anything they do with their hands is something that stays with them. Otherwise, just in the classroom, we've told them, yeah, this is how you should do, ye karo, wo karo. That doesn't make sense, it stays there for a while and that's it. But if you take up projects, you see that, all right, we have to look after the environment. We don't waste water. You see, we should not do this. The climate is changing. If you do these things in a practical manner, it works. So I think, we should concentrate on developing these skills. Giving them knowledge as well is important, like I want them to learn everything about space, because I want them to imagine and innovate and do things.
Hmm.
You see, that is also important, but we have to give them some hands-on jobs, which promote these things.
I know you mentioned in the book that some of the students, for paucity of funds, because of their circumstances, they are unable to pursue their education after 12th. So that's where I think the skill, the set that you're talking about comes handy, that they become
Absolutely.
self-employed. They're able to
Yeah.
kind of do something with their hands and make money and support the family.
Yeah. We've given them craft skills, you see. I would like to tell you about Sita's youngest sister, who was a toddler when they joined. That girl has done her master's in nutrition and dietetics, and now she's got a job, and she's doing so well. She's getting a salary of about 30,000 or something. It has really changed the trajectory of her life. You see, Sita is running the school practically. She looks after everything. And the youngest sister is doing that. The other two sisters are settled, they're married and gone.
Hmm.
But I think of those days, you see, when they were in a small juggi, in a big empty plot, with nowhere to go, no help, no food, nothing. So there has been a change. The school has given them a platform and um, sort of sustained them, sustained them.
Yeah, that you've
Yeah.
always felt that sustainable development is equally important. And I saw these videos and I was so happy to see their diction, the way they were speaking, the way they were
Yeah.
carrying themselves.
Yes,
That's a
I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud
very
of them.
holistic, and the way they were performing. You've had volunteers who've taught them dance. You've had volunteers who've taught them amazing craft work that they do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And one thing to be proud of is that you're very fond that they should learn to read. So that's why you
Yeah,
have the Center for Learning and Reading.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's a
Yeah, you
holistic.
see, what happens, when they start speaking to me, and the pronunciation is wrong, you see what a school the child has come from. They have not taught them these basic things. So I always felt very concerned about this, and I insisted that they read a lot, right? But वो सामने तो पढ़ लेते हैं अब ज़्यादा. You see, children don't read too much because of TVs and the telephone and other things.
Mhm.
But still, they're better in our school. You see, they're doing something.
I think that's been there right from the beginning when you introduced this bag of books. Right in the beginning, you used to have these bags in which the children went.
Yeah,
I wish this conversation just could have gone and gone. There's so much still to share, but there is so much you can find. Everyone can find in the book. One should read it. One should read because for the inspiration and for anything that you feel is doable. I mean, where there's a will, there is a way. Dr. Dutt has really proved that. And hats off to you, ma'am. I mean,
I'm so grateful. You see that you think like that. I'm quite convinced that here is a replicable model. And I've seen somebody. Yeah, I've seen another person. You see, who was in our school. You see, she was being uh, she was teaching one of the centers. And then we had to, for some reason, you see, we had to dispense with her. And then she went and started another. which was very satisfying to me in the sense, you see, there were so many other children near the marketplace, you see, and all. She sat there in the open and started, and पहले उसके 4-5 बच्चे थे, अब उसके पास 60-70 बच्चे.
अच्छी बात
See?
है ना? So it's a
That it's really amazing, that it can take on. It can take on this possibility to reach out to people who can't.
On this very note, since we are short of time, we have a minute left. And I mean, I must recommend everyone to read this A Drop of Light to realize how single determination and focus can change the world. And yes, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world.
Oh,
Ma'am,
yes. Oh,
inspirational.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much, Neeta. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.